Hey, welcome to episode 5 of coreCAST. Guess what? We've got a guest today who doesn't know how to work a computer. Hang on.
Who's the mystery guest?
Okay.
Who could it be? There he is.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Hey, do you have your soundboard working, Joel?
Actually, I don't. And, you know, I figured that the last time I did this, it wasn't coming through. So, hey, you hear that? Everybody's clapping. I'll insert it later.
There you go. So I meant to tell you, I was going to ask, I don't know, have we really started, Joel? What did we decide?
Yeah, we're going right now.
Awesome. So, Joel, let's talk about the soundboard a little, because I thought it was great, but I think you're right. You could barely hear it. So I was wondering if you had control over that, because I'm sure our audience wants to hear our audience.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. Honestly, I'm just learning the system, and I thought the sound would be completely embedded in the video, but it is not. It's just playing, you know, out in the ether, I guess. So when I say applause, Mark, that's when I'm going to put the applause in. Boo, Mark, that's when I'm going to put the boos in. So as soon as Ethan showed his face, there were boos.
Now I'm sad.
That's awesome. Well, welcome, everyone. You get to see a little behind the scenes and the mess that we have when we try to get this set up. But we figured you're joining us. And hey, guys, one little piece of good news. We had a decent number of viewers of our last coreCAST.
Good.
Hey, here's what I'm disappointed in, honestly. And I understand the industry that we're in. It's a very prideful industry. Hey, I'm a prideful guy too. But if someone offers me something for free, I'm going to make it a point to just take advantage of it. We're not going to look down on you if you ask for a pen or a bag of coffee, I promise. You can see I've got tons of coffee left. Not tons, but I've got a lot of coffee left, and we've got pens. So if you want a pen or coffee, let us know down in the description below. And be sure to, we'll get in touch with you. Just let us know in the description below if you want a pen or coffee.
It's literally free, no obligation. And all you have to do is, if you don't feel like leaving a comment on the YouTube because you don't want to say anything, I don't blame anyone for not commenting publicly because, you know, they don't want to be associated with us in theory. So
I'm used to it,
especially after the last episode. So let me make a promise here. We're going to tone it down this episode. So it's going to be, we're going to stick to what we know.
Yeah, I say we do too.
Yeah, no politics. So when we talk about free stuff, Ethan, if you don't mind, give us a close-up of that pin. So that pin is for Honor and Remember. We don't want to sound like broken records, but it's a great organization that was founded by George Lutz. And we have these pins that have both the American flag and the Honor and Remember flag. And I'm thinking that Ethan still can't hear me, by the way, Joel. Yeah. So just as a heads up, I don't know if you can hear me or if I'm just speaking away.
No, I can hear you,
audience.
and he's trying to get back in.
So, yeah, Ethan's having all kinds of problems. You know, that's what happens when you kind of take a vacation and go off to the Antarctic. You know, there is kind of bad internet there.
There is.
Are we back, Ethan?
We are back.
That's fantastic. I was telling everyone that you decided to take a vacation. You're in the Antarctic with a little bit of internet trouble. All that white background there, it's not a wall. It is actually ice.
Yeah, I actually have no idea what's going on at all. In fact, this is the fastest internet I've been on in a long time. So
yeah, well,
but it is nice up here.
We're actually paying for a specific office that Ethan is sitting in with the hopes that we could get reliable internet. Yeah.
So
good times.
Ethan lives in the mountains of Colorado, so he doesn't get really good signal. So sometimes in our past episodes, you may have noticed that we would talk over each other. That was the reason, because we're faster than the speed of light, basically.
I'm still waiting for Elon Musk to rescue me, in all honesty, with Starlink. In fact, actually, if I point my camera app up into the air, I can actually see there's a Starlink satellite like right above our house.
That's awesome.
Just
So,
really need that satellite though.
Ethan, tell us a little about, I mean, this is a good topic to start off with.
Yeah.
You know, we like talking extraterrestrial, but let's talk about Starlink. I think
Yeah.
a lot of our viewers, they may have heard a little about Starlink, but they may not know what it is. And
Sure.
I think, in all honesty, that's one of the most exciting technologies that's being introduced.
Oh, yeah.
So do you want to share with everyone a little bit about it?
Yeah, I would love to. So we'll start off with the basics. Starlink is another project initiative of Elon Musk, one of his many businesses. The idea is that they put just a ton of low orbit satellites up into the air. In fact, maybe a month or two ago, I could see a line of them. I literally thought we were being invaded by extraterrestrials. But no, I mean, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. Just a line like evenly spaced out across the sky, almost looked like the drone show that they did at the Beijing Olympics.
Yeah, the Intel drones. Yeah.
Just really, really crazy. But the really, really cool thing about it is that it offers just insanely fast internet to really remote areas. So people who traditionally have been, you know, locked to not as good internet options now have much, much more capability. And as, you know, far as human development is concerned, I think this is one of, if not the biggest enhancement to livability in a long, long time. This is going to allow people who have lived in regions who've maybe their industry in the region has been abandoned, coal mining country. I think that's a great example. It offers those people who have lost out on jobs the ability to work remotely, to get jobs that utilize the internet. So I think it's an absolutely incredibly huge thing. It's a right step to the future for humanity. So I'm looking forward to it.
And currently, just to give everyone an update on the project, and first of all, shout out to Elon, our buddy. You know, I've been a Tesla owner since 2013, so I'm a big fanboy. I love technology, love gadgets, so Elon's definitely someone that, you know, I have a lot of respect for everything that he's done, and hopefully he will fix Ethan's internet problems, is the goal. But Starlink is currently in beta. It's been in beta for a few months, so there's quite a few people that have been running it. The goal is to get basically gigabyte speed. That's a gigabyte is a speed of what you get on a fiber internet, right? So the goal is to achieve that. I don't think they've achieved quite that, but you know they definitely are seeing speeds equivalent to cable and other fast internet out there. You can go to starlink.com and sign up. I think it's $599 for the equipment. Don't quote me on that. And then it's going to be $100 a month. Now, again, $100 a month, that's more expensive than a lot of home internet. But if you are working from home, you know, it's definitely worth the investment if you're like many, many Americans who are starting to move out of the big cities and into rural America. And the biggest challenge with rural America, which is what I've lived in for literally 30 years almost, I've always been in the country. The biggest challenges have been obtaining reliable internet that you can actually work. And, you know, for families, it's also important, you know, to be able to stream and play video games. And satellite internet is not something new, right? So HughesNet has been out there. It used to be direct, you know, there's DirecTV that used to, you know, I think it turned into HughesNet. There's a couple of Dish Network offers satellite internet. But here's the difference. Why those don't work very often is because the satellite is so far out. So even if you have a fast download speed, there's something called latency. And latency means the time that it takes for, you know, my request for my computer to travel all the way up to that satellite and then back. And you literally, you cannot solve latency based on how high up those satellites are. So inevitably on traditional satellites, you may have a fast download speed you never have a fast upload speed. Upload speed has always been a huge issue. So again, if you're working and you're trying to upload documents, you're literally fighting with speeds that are similar to the days when you had a dial-up modem. Sometimes it gets a little better than that. But regardless, those satellites are orbiting at such a high altitude, you literally cannot avoid latency or long latency, right? And that makes, just for the casual users, just for all of you who may play video games, it makes it impossible. Literally, you cannot use a traditional satellite to play a multiplayer video game, because by the time you take the shot,
you're going to die a lot.
You're dead, right? Yeah, exactly. So that's the biggest difference with this new generation of satellites, is they're low flying, they're in that lower orbit, and Elon, of course, is leading the race there. And our favorite, best buddy, Jeff Bezos, I keep thinking of his ship. So I said I'd be politically correct. Maybe I lied. So it's funny to me because Jeff Bezos keeps copying Elon. He literally, I feel like he just keeps trying to chase him. And there's literally a satellite project that Amazon announced. And again, in all seriousness, Amazon has really good technology. We leverage a lot of that technology. But to me, the space race and the race to the satellite internet, is certainly being led by Elon. And, I think it's interesting that Jeff just keeps trying to copy him and to catch up to him. But the beauty with Elon is he's so far ahead of the game. We see it everywhere. We've seen it with Tesla. Everyone that looks at Tesla, well, now, suddenly every car manufacturer, literally every major car manufacturer, has announced end of life of the combustion engine and beginning of life of the EV, which is great. And that was Elon's, one of his main goals, was not just to have Tesla, but to have the other car companies go to electric cars. But what's interesting, and where Tesla has a massive advantage that literally people don't realize, is the charging network, right? He started this network years ago. So there's chargers, superchargers all over the country. And the other car manufacturers are desperately trying to catch up, and they have to band together to even try to catch up with that. The same thing with self-driving, right? So Joel was got a ride in my latest car. I got to make sure it's on a street that's not bumpy or anything.
I was like, oh God, he's gonna go in.
Make sure there's no cops.
Yeah, we'll wait till the next block.
Oh my gosh!
I finally upgraded after 8 years. And the self-driving, my car in 2013, my Tesla, which I put 176,000 miles on, it didn't have any self-driving type capabilities, no bells and whistles. And my car now, I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing how intelligent, that car is, and it truly can drive itself. But again, what people don't realize is you can't simply catch up with Elon, because 2014, right? The Tesla 2014 is the first year that they started putting in the hardware equipment for self-driving, right? That's literally 7 years ago. And guess what they've been doing? They've been tracking that data. They've been accumulating that data. And that's what machine learning is all about, right? You hear about artificial intelligence and machine learning, and the way machine learning works is through data. And the more data you have, the smarter these machines can become. And that's where, Google's been driving around a self-driving car. I saw it years ago on the Google campus, but it's, a fleet of cars, right? So there's a small fleet of cars that Google's been experimenting with the self-driving. They've gone pretty far, but the difference with Tesla is they have literally billions of miles recorded by their own customers of these cars on autopilot, on self-driving. And again, that's where Elon is always literally 10 steps ahead of his competitors, even when he literally announced at one point that all of Tesla patents he's making public, which was years ago. Wow. And everyone was like, well, why would he do that? It's because he's always way ahead of the game. So the Starlink, for those of you who live in the country or, you have internet problems, definitely take a look at it. It's going to be a phenomenal product. I'm actually secretly hoping that the next, and they have not said anything about this, but my hope is that we will be able to access Starlink even in our vehicles, because, one of the worst technologies out there is literally cell phone technology. I mean, think about it. How many of you have been driving around and you lose a cell phone signal? And literally, it happens all the time, right? And I remember, I think my first cell phone, and I'm not exaggerating, I think my first cell phone that I purchased was about 30 years ago, and I was driving from Boca Raton. I had customers in Miami, and I would drive there on a daily basis. And I cannot tell you, and I was young and dumb, and phones back then, they were like $1,500. It was like a brick, right? And I can't tell you how frustrated I would get. And literally, several times I opened my window over one of the causeways that I would cross, and I literally would almost throw that phone out the window because it was just so frustrating. So I'm curious, and I know I've been talking for a long time, sorry guys, but Ethan, Joel, what technology out there can survive for 30 years with so many bugs?
I don't know. Nuclear technology.
I would certainly hope so.
But isn't that weird? I mean, you think about cell phones and they still can't get them right. So Ethan, I don't know if you thought about this, but I'm hoping they release phones. There are satellite phones.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They don't work well because of latency. But oh my gosh, it would be phenomenal.
That would be absolutely
that's what
incredible.
I'm hoping for.
And pricey.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm so sick of cell phone technology.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same issue as the internet issue. I mean, you have just people who don't have access. Why are there people in America who either don't have cell phone access or barely have cell phone access? It's a problem to be solved. There's money to be made too.
And you know what it's going to solve?
Yeah.
You know what's going to solve it, right? The quantum net. Oh yeah. The quantum net. You guys know about the quantum net?
No, tell us, Joel.
I don't know. It's just something I imagined up. Sounds good though, doesn't it?
I mean, if we're getting into quantum computing, there actually have been some pretty big advancements in recent years. There's a Canadian company that another awesome tech media group, Linus Tech Tips, interviewed actually, and they were kind of just looking into it, doing an interview, doing a little tour around the property, but the technology is coming. So, I mean, maybe it's in 5 years, maybe it's in 50 years, hard to say. And I haven't been following it that closely, but it's a really cool concept, if nothing else.
Hey, well, if we want to really blow the audience minds and definitely lose every single viewer, we can really talk about Google's latest announcement of the time crystal. Did you hear about that, Ethan?
I haven't heard of the time crystal. Talk to me.
Yeah. I don't know if I don't know if I can, simply because it is way over my head, but literally,
I respect that.
Look it up and maybe you'll explain it to all of us in our next cast, but Google has created a time crystal in a quantum computer, which is apparently something that's, literally they're saying that it's one of the biggest scientific discoveries of late.
So
now,
just
again,
to read a really
even explain it.
Well, I'll read a really quick description. I mean, I just Googled it real fast. I mean, if Google invented it, surely they have something on their search. But in condensed matter physics, a time crystal is a quantum system of particles whose lowest energy state is one in which the particles are in repetitive motion. The system cannot lose energy to the environment and come to rest because it is already in its quantum ground state. So, in other words, they broke physics. Because, I mean, this is what we learned in all of our high school science classes. Energy, it loses friction, other science stuff.
Yeah. I mean, apparently it's something about, creating something that, literally can move and without losing energy or something. I mean, it's literally, in essence, contradicting, I think it's one of Newton's laws. So it's fascinating. Yeah. We'll let Ethan explain it to us in plain English on our next cast.
I'll do some research.
But I'm actually surprised, Ethan. You're usually like me, and you're on top of these things. So I'm actually surprised you didn't read up on it, just happened to come across it.
It's been a crazy few weeks. I'm behind the times.
So, just to switch topics, Joel, I think we have a lot to talk about. The Olympics.
The what?
Exactly. Let's move to the next topic.
Hey,
really not much.
Before we get off,
seriously, is anybody watching these Olympics?
No. Now I do have a new favorite athlete though. The wrestler who was just so excited. She won the gold. She's out there holding the American flag.
Was that the flash?
Was that the Filipino?
We definitely need to flash her picture.
Yep. She was awesome. And after what I've learned is that after all the wokeism was kind of portrayed in the media, that a lot of patriotic athletes came out. I saw one runner who, he was, sprinting at this finish line. He ran over and he did this right here. And he was really proud that he was representing the USA. So we probably just need to turn the news media off and stop letting them program us. So.
Yeah, you're probably right. And, I shouldn't do what everyone does because they generalize, right? So I'm kind of, in all honesty, turned off by the whole Olympics, but maybe I shouldn't because there are a lot of good athletes that are proud to be Americans, and it's probably the minority that are making the most noise and that are being, literally glorified by the media. I mean, I think maybe I should change a little in terms of my attitude on it because I haven't been interested in it because I don't want to watch something that's, if I want to watch a sport, I want to watch the sport, which is why I've stopped watching the NFL. It's politics and sports don't mix. Sorry.
No, they don't.
So speaking of politics and sports, one thing I do want to mention on the Olympics, actually, it's been a really fascinating and honestly kind of sad and a little bit infuriating topic. Forgive me, anyone listening, if I misspeak, I'm just speaking from a few articles I've read, things like that. But from my understanding, Russia has actually been banned from this Olympics because I think it was something like greater than 50% of their athletes were caught doping. And so to get around the ban, they formed the Russian Olympic Committee. And so Russians are competing under the Russian Olympic Committee and the Olympic Committee Against Doping, or whatever their name is. They're basically refusing to do anything about it. And part of the reason for that, to be fair, I'm, got to play devil's advocate, is there are honest, hardworking Russian athletes. And
for sure,
just because there are some that have doped it shouldn't necessarily discredit their achievements. But the main issue is that they are pretty much, again, I don't know all of the facts, all of the research that's gone into it, but they've pretty much been able to prove that Russia has tampered with the evidence. So they don't actually know which athletes doped. They just know that it happened. So the records were tampered with and in some cases deleted. There
is a very interesting movie on Netflix called Icarus. It's actually an Oscar-winning film, and it's a documentary that literally talks about the doping scandal in Russia, and literally it's a really interesting movie. Again, it's called Icarus on Netflix. I think you'd find it interesting.
Yeah, that sounds interesting, and honestly, my heart does go out to all of the honest competing athletes out there. I know I know there's actually been some tensions among some of the athletes themselves. There was a U.S. swimmer who commented something about one of the Russian swimmers' wins. He's like, well, I don't know what he said, but basically insinuating that this guy was doping.
Headline on that.
I mean,
yeah,
it's just,
and
it is frustrating because we really don't know. Yeah, he did, and I think that was the right move to make because we don't know.
We don't know, and that's why, especially over the past 5 years, the whole media, everybody turned against Russia, and I'm not a Russian stooge, but after 5 years of being told that they're the biggest threat on planet Earth, and then to kind of discover things that have happened over those 5 years, I could care less what the media says about the Russian Olympic team. I really don't care. Anytime the media says anything, I don't care who they are. It's like I can't take anything that you say serious. Hey, but I will tell you this. Let's dip our toe back into technology for a second.
Yeah.
Because this is really serious, I believe. And I know I usually start off my jokes like that, but I'm being deadly serious. But you guys saw that Apple was going to begin scanning all iPhones for photos that are located on they're doing it under the child it's a database
Act or
explicit images of children. But the problem is that you're not asked, if they can scan your phone. They're literally going to scan all iPhones. So let us know in the comments below what you think about that. That makes me a little nervous.
Joel, I'm
that's
glad
a hard
you brought
one.
that up. I read the headline on that a few days ago. I remember reading the headline. I was going to actually dig into it more, and in all honesty, I was going to talk to you about it off camera because it really is shocking to me because what's interesting to me, and again, it's such a battle, right? Not everything is black or white, right? They're not, I'm sure their intention is good. But it's interesting to me that the company that has been so steadfast about not even letting the FBI access someone's, a criminal's phone, a criminal that has been arrested, and Apple has been so steadfast about it. And again, I'm mixed emotioned on it. I literally can see, certainly both sides of it. If it's a family member of mine that's, was, God forbid, hurt in a crime, always think about it. When you have such a strong opinion about something, put yourself in someone else's shoes before you, just blurt out, right? So it's one of those topics that's a tough one, but Apple has been consistent about it, saying, no, we cannot unlock a phone, right? So the FBI has gone around it by being able to hack these phones, right? Which I'm pretty happy about because, there's a lot of bad people out there. The majority of people around the world are good. And I'll get back to the Russia topic in a second because I was going to make a comment relating to this. But the invasion of privacy and where does it stop of a company, it's no different why I am not active on Facebook, right? Facebook is looking at every comment you make. They're looking at every picture you upload. And, it's not just the machines. It's literally, they've got thousands and thousands and thousands of moderators that they've hired, to review content. Now, from a standpoint of Facebook, I'm not paying them, right? So if I'm not paying them, they have the right to leverage the data that, I'm uploading and to their servers that are costing them money, right? So, for me, Facebook is a choice, right? And if you don't like what they're doing, get the heck off Facebook, right? If you don't like what Twitter does, get the heck off Twitter, right? But when I buy a phone from Apple, right, I'm paying money for that phone. That phone, that piece of hardware is mine. That data is mine. I find it hard without legal involvement, right, for them to say, hey, I'm going to start scanning Ezra's phone, right? And we all know that, sometimes you end up with a pop-up on a website that takes you somewhere that you didn't intend to go to. Anything that you visit on a website gets downloaded to your local cache, right? So where does it stop? Where does it stop if you have a picture? Every parent, and Ethan, you're a parent. At some point, we've taken a picture of our kid in the bathtub, right?
Yeah.
So, where does it stop, and what's going to happen, when an erroneous judgment call, right? And how do they determine, if that picture is, pornographic, and specifically child pornography? And when is it going to hurt that innocent person that literally they either had no idea, or that picture isn't really, what it's thought to be. And I don't know enough about it because I didn't read the article, but to me, again, I would prefer if maybe it was, happening from the FBI standpoint, or, someone that's looking out for me with, the intentions of truly protecting us. So I don't know. I don't know if I even have a strong opinion. I mean, obviously I have strong opinions, but I need to read more detail on it. But Joel, I was really shocked that Apple literally was announced that. It's interesting to me.
Yeah, I don't trust anyone, especially the more pure the intention is, the more skeptical I am of it. It's like vaccines, or, hey, we're going to do this because it's going to protect all these things. And I'm thinking to myself, how many, with the Russia collusion, the pandemic, people, not believing it was a pandemic, whatever you believe. I'm just saying how big tech kind of reacted to it. They were wiping people out just because of what they said, because of the pictures they posted. And I'm thinking to myself, you have child sex trafficking happening worldwide. Child sex trafficking. You have these things that are literally happening, on the web, and those things you give a pass. But these things over here, you're gonna quash. That's why I don't take you serious. I can't take you serious. You've got the technology to do this, and you don't. But whenever I see you start doing it, then I start thinking, okay, there's got to be something more nefarious. But they're going to be matching, which still is creepy, because I know that the iPhone has always had tons of onboard, computational power. I don't know the technical term, but the iPhone is very, very powerful on board. It can do all kinds of things on the phone. And that's what they're saying. They're saying that basically, I guess you're going to have a key in the cloud. And if any of those photos match that key, one of those known photographs, then it's going to get a ping, and then they're going to notify the authorities. So it's as safe as they can make it, but still I'm icky about, big tech or government or anybody having control over what's
Joel,
on your device.
If I may, just put in 2 points. I think there's 2 things worth considering. One, there is a very big difference, and Ezra kind of alluded to this, that there's a very big difference between government as an institution and big tech. So government, you could argue, is something that, by participating in society, you are agreeing to the social contract. So, when government does things you don't like, well, it's rough, but there is still some legitimacy, and there is still some, idea that it is for the good of the people. Whether you take that in a Lockean sense or a Hobbesian sense. Hobbesian being more, tyrannical. Lockean being more a lot what the American founders were interested in, which was the idea that you want to have more of a limited government. But there is a big difference. And so it does kind of begin to get a little bit sketchy. I mean, to put it in modern terms, when you do have big tech just kind of solely bringing things that are arguably, a governmental authority upon themselves. So, Locke talks a lot about the dissolution of society and how that's really like the frame of a government. if you ever need some light reading, John Locke's Second Treatise of Government, in all honesty, is spectacular. It was actually the second most read work by our American founders behind the Bible. There's a lot of studies that support and show that. But kind of moving on, I think just one practical issue that you need to consider as well is, and again, I think this has already been a little bit touched on, but who exactly is going to be the ones monitoring, all of these photos, and to what extent are they going to be able to rip those pictures off and distribute them themselves? What if the people reviewing have nefarious intent? It's kind of hard to say.
The technology is taking care of all that. So whoever's reviewing, they're only reviewing known pinged images, and they're not reviewing the images. What they're doing is they're notifying authorities supposedly, but still, I don't know, man. It's just it's a icky.
I was just going to.
No, you're good.
Not to apologize for interrupting you, but based on your description, again, as a parent and as someone who thinks that pedophiles are literally, from my standpoint, are some of the worst. I don't even want to call them human beings. If it catches one of them, take my phone. Take everything in my phone. I have nothing to hide. If they are truly doing good, I have no problem with it. I have nothing to hide. And if they're comparing it with known pictures, it makes sense. You know what? And I hope Google follows Apple's footsteps, because it's and again, this is just my personal opinion, but literally, I'm an open book. If that's what's being used for, and it saves one child, it's worth it. It's worth giving up. You want to have a computer analyze my pictures, I have no problem with that. As long as it's used properly.
They're going to find a lot of food.
They will find a lot of food.
Definitely food porn is certainly all over my phone. So I will admit that.
Man loves to take pictures of his food.
Can I just plug my passion? Just so everyone knows, I'm a Google local guide, and I believe, if I'm not there yet, I'm about to hit 25 million views of my photos and several 100,000 views of my reviews. And good news, next cast, I'm hoping I will show you what Google has rewarded my work with. They are sending me a pin. Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
You deserve it.
Wow.
You deserve it.
Well, I've gotten a pair of
That's
socks
amazing.
so far. Yeah, and now I'm getting a pin. Yeah.
So now we just need to convert this fame. Ezra's kids bug him all the time, but we need to convert this fame into Instagram, where Ezra can pursue, his true passion of being the best food reviewer in the world.
Yep.
And I would also just like to throw it out there. I did just get my notification that I am now in the top 10% of Google restaurant reviewers myself. So I think I'm catching up in my own speed.
Way to go.
Congrats.
You guys.
That's
awesome. I
awesome.
eat at a lot of restaurants, so.
I don't know that I get a pin for it.
Hey, let me tell you something, a couple of cool things that came to coreSTORE since our last cast. And let's see. So one of the really cool features, I forget, can I share my screen on this? Sorry, we use a new tool here, so I don't remember. Joel, can I share my screen? Awesome. Very bottom where it says screen.
Yeah, at the very bottom, you just click screen.
That's brilliant. Yeah, you just click screen, everyone. That's awesome. Let me real quick.
See, I know stuff.
Adjust my computer. All right. So let me know when you can see my screen. Window. Oh, let me choose Chrome tab. Cool. What was it, 2 weeks ago that I was doing this and I still don't remember it? All right. So Are you seeing my screen now, everyone? On the cast?
We do not see your screen. We do not.
It says
I
sharing
don't
this
see it on the
tab.
cast.
Okay, well, imagine that you are, because I think it is actually working.
Okay.
It
We'll
says
fix it
it's
in
working.
post.
Yeah, there you go. So one of the new features that, just so everyone knows, coreFORCE, we have a little different terminology, but coreFORCE actually already supports what now we call in coreSTORE units, because it's units of measure. I think in coreFORCE it's called packs, but in all honesty, we probably need to change the terminology, because the proper terminology for when an inventory item comes in different formats, meaning you may have a single, you may have 6 of them in a pack, you may have 12 of them in a case, and you may have 24 of them in a carton, right? So I'll give everyone the analogy that most of you would be familiar with, which is beer. Any beer drinkers on this call?
Yeah.
Not here.
Yeah. I'll drink just about anything.
I thought you were going to go the ammo route.
Oh, well, I don't know. I'm switching it up.
I mean, I worked as a bartender, so I had to learn how to like things so I could sell it.
I keep forgetting that, as usual, no surprise, Ethan has worked as a bartender, because Ethan has pretty much done every job in the world out there, it seems. So, so with beer, of course, you can buy a can of
Lots
beer.
of life experience.
You can buy a 6-pack. You might be able to buy a case. And I don't know, you may be able to buy a barrel of beer, right? A keg, I think they call it. I'm not a beer drinker, so no criticism on beer drinkers, but I'm just not one. So those are called units of measure, right? So a unit of measure, typically you can receive the item in a certain unit of measure and then sell it in multiple different units of measure, or you may receive it in multiple different units of measure. So that's the concept of again, it's called unit of measure. Each box, case, carton, keg, all of those are different units of measure. And now in coreSTORE, when you go to the variations tab, you can actually define additional units of measure, right? So your main unit of measure is the one that you typically will receive items in, but you can change it. And you can actually choose to add different units of measure. For example, I can say this is a case, and it has 12 in it, and this is the cost of a case, right? And here's my selling price of that case, right? So as soon as I set this item up, and I'll do another one, I'll just create a box, right? And the box maybe just has 6. And again, ammunition is a good example where you might have a case and a box and different units of measure. So I can just say this is $12.99 and it sells for $18.75. Again, I'm just making up some data here. You'll see it, assuming the cast is capturing my screen, which I'm hoping it is. And at this point, when I go into the receiving screen and I receive this test item, you're going to see that I can actually select a different unit of measure. Now, one thing I didn't point out, but you can actually have a separate UPC code or item number for each unit of measure. And typically with ammunition, there is a different barcode. Most manufacturers, not all, but most manufacturers will put a different barcode on the case versus the barcode on the box, right? So you can literally, once it's set up in coreSTORE, you can set it up so you're receiving the cases, and then maybe you're selling the boxes or the cases. So in my receiving screen, you'll actually see that I can select the test item. And again, everything's, I think, running a bit sluggish here because of our recording. So bear with us on this recording. I don't know how good it will come out, but we'll just do test. And let's see, test item. And once I pull it up in the receiving screen, we'll probably have to redo the video here, but once I pull it on the receiving screen, it actually will let me choose the different unit of measure for that item. So it's a really powerful feature, and same thing on the sales screen. And again, if I scan the case or scan the box, it will properly adjust the quantity of the item. And that saves a lot of time and a lot of headaches from separating the items, right? Because a lot of times you may have, again, I'll use ammunition. You have a case of ammo that you're selling by the case, but you're also selling by the box. So it's better for you to track your inventory by the box. So if you have 3 cases of 10 boxes each, you've got 30 boxes, but then you sell 2 boxes. In that case, you have 28, and then you might sell a case, right? So then you're left with, 18. I'm assuming I did all my math right. But basically what that allows you to do is actually keep the item under 1 unit of measure. And that's what becomes really important because you don't want to set up the item separately. So, and I didn't mean to say 1 unit of measure, but 1 item, right? You don't want to set up separate items if it's the same item, but it happens to be packaged differently. So that's a really one of the more exciting features that we announced, and you'll see it on the What's New of coreSTORE. Joel, did that all make sense, or did I ramble on too much?
Say again?
I think we lost.
Oh, I was asking, did that all make sense? Did that all make sense, or did I ramble on too much?
Yes, absolutely. No, that was good.
So
I think it's going to be great for people, especially with ammo. If ammo gets any harder to get, you're going to be selling ammo by the 10s instead of by the 50s. So here's your way to do it.
I did see an article saying it was the shortage could be ending soon. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I mean, I think
I've also seen articles that said the exact opposite.
Exactly. I think there's potentially there's potential to swing either way, and don't forget we're about to get into hunting season, and that's when sales will go up no matter what in our industry. And here's another good point. Everyone remember, there's 8 million new shooters. 8 million, which means there's a lot more ammo being sold. So this isn't just, oh wow, we're getting over the COVID scare and we're getting over the fact that we have, I think his name is Biden as president. I'm not sure because he sometimes doesn't seem to remember his name.
Whoa. But,
with Biden as president, again, those events certainly cause spikes, right? But the difference here is it's a supply and demand situation, and the demand has grown simply because of the number of new shooters on both sides, of the politics. There's literally new shooters that have joined the ranks and, who want to protect themselves and their families, and who are certainly supporters of the Second Amendment. Again, no matter who you voted for or what your political beliefs are, I think every citizen in the United States at the end of the day wants to make sure that his family is protected and safe, and that he's able or she is able to protect their homes. So this is where the industry has grown and tremendously, and it's going to keep growing. That's one of our most basic freedoms in this country is the freedom to protect ourselves, to protect our possessions. There's a lot of bad things going on, south of the border. People have to go out gardening with, carrying a firearm on their side because of all the illegals that are entering this country, and many of them, with criminal backgrounds. But I'm getting into politics again. The only point is I don't think the ammunition supply is suddenly going to, I think it is improving and there's not as much shortages, but I don't know if it's really going to suddenly, the demand's not going to disappear, overnight.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of people wonder how that process works, how the gun manufacturers and the ammo manufacturers don't seem to be able to catch up. Here's how it was explained to me, which makes perfect sense. These people are basically running from 4-year election to 4-year election, sometimes from 2 years to 2 years, because their whole, business model is built around, are they going to come in and outlaw everything that we're doing? So they're not going to put, millions of dollars into retooling, to up the production when they don't know what's going to happen in 4 years, which is sad because we should know what our fellow Americans are going to do as far as voting. But, this last election may give them pause, but that's what's happening. It's not a conspiracy or anything. It's just like they're not tooled to meet the demand, and they're not gonna, so.
They're not gonna.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And then obviously the obvious resource issues as well. I mean, just with there being, less primers, less of and then even just getting the raw resources to where they can be manufactured, to where they can be further manufactured. I mean, it's a really intricate process that we don't always think about. But I mean, even just looking into like the making of a battery is just absolutely crazy, from, cobalt mines and, I can't remember the African countries that are some of the bigger producers, but I mean, it starts very far away and there's a lot of moving parts.
So if you find some ammo, buy as much as you can.
Yep.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I can get behind that.
So the other exciting feature I wanted to point out, one of the topics we talked about in our last cast was the fact that your system, should help you manage your business better, right? And Joel, if you remember last time, I was focused very much on inventory control, right? Because at the end of the day, inventory is probably the largest cost of running almost any hard good retail store, right? Because your money is tied up in this inventory. And if you've got
Correct.
the wrong inventory, your money is just sitting there, right? Not working for you. Or potentially you're losing sales because you don't have the right inventory, right? So, I talked about a couple of things that we're doing to help retailers manage their inventory. Well, this time I want to talk about another cost, right? That's important to look at in any retail store, which is labor, right? And labor obviously is typically for any business, such as ours. Our labor is our biggest cost of our business. We've got server costs and other costs of running CoreWare, but labor by far for us as a service business, as a software company, is our biggest cost. We're, I think, about to exceed 30 employees, which we're excited about. But that's literally the biggest cost. Well, for a retailer, again, not having enough labor or having too much labor, both of those are big problems. So what we've done, and I'm not going to share my screen, living in the country, I have decent internet, but apparently when I'm recording, we're using a new tool for these casts, and that's why my whole system kind of froze up, and I think Ethan and Joel had trouble hearing me. So I'll describe it, but hopefully we can actually show it as well. We'll just add it after the fact. But if I go to reports and I go to the sales reports, there's now a summary sales by time report. And it's a really exciting report from my standpoint because it will show me exactly by either you can choose a date range, right? And then you can choose the time interval. So if I want to look at sales across the month and I want to see what days of the week, because you can say compare to a date range. So I can say compare this week to last week, or, I can do same dates previous year. So if I want to look at last year versus this year, I can see literally broken down by the hour or even by the day of the week, I can see all my levels of sales, both the number of transactions and the actual totals, which in this case, for me, I think what's more interesting is the number of transactions, right? Because I can take this report and use it to help schedule my labor, right? So if I want to look back and try to figure out, September is coming up, I know it's season, let me look and see, and I'm assuming we either imported your sales data or, if you've been using coreSTORE, obviously you'll have this data. But if you don't remember exactly how busy you were, last season, and again, with our industry, it's hard to predict things, right? Because last season was crazy. This season may not be as crazy. So you have to use some, human analysis with this. But in general, you can look at this report and determine, what hours of the day are you the busiest? What days of the week are you the busiest? And you can then compare that to your labor scheduling and figure out if maybe, you don't need as many people on a certain day of the week, or maybe you need more people on a certain day of the week. So it's a really, a lot of times, I think just not just with our system, it's any system. A lot of times users don't necessarily pay enough attention to the data that they can retrieve out of a system, right? And really, at the end of the day, the most important part of any system is that data that's coming out of the system, right? I'm capturing data. I'm capturing a sale. I'm capturing a credit card transaction. I'm adding a customer. I'm adding inventory items. I'm conducting business, right? So that's one task that a system should do for you, is to allow you to conduct your daily business. The second part that a system should do is to help you better manage that business. And this is an example. This report is an example of how we try to help you better manage your business. And if you start printing this report on a regular basis, I think it will really help you with your planning of labor, which again has got to be one of the higher costs for any business, and especially retail. So it's definitely look at that report. If you have any other suggestions or ideas, we're always looking to improve and add reports to the system. So those are two, really from my standpoint, very exciting features. I think next cast, we're going to look at the advanced purchasing feature in a lot more detail. We're in the midst of tweaking it. And for those of you who read our What's New, you do have access to it. If you wait till Monday, it will be working, I think, near flawlessly. And again, it's just the first iteration of it. And I'm excited because it really will help our customers manage their inventory a whole lot better. And I think if you start looking at it, you'll be just as excited as I am. So Joel, your job is to remind me to go through the advanced purchasing on our next cast.
Yeah, is that the advanced? I mean, is that the automatic ordering? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, but it's not the true automatic ordering. I think I gave everyone a glance of it last cast, an early glance, but I'll go through it in detail the next cast. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't believe in automatic ordering. I don't know if you remember me talking about that.
Right, but we're talking about. Is this the same thing that you showed me?
Yes, I think I did. I show so many people so many things.
Okay. You guys are going to be super, super interested in this. He said it's not automatic ordering, but I said if I were just going to come off the street and tell you what it was, it's automatic ordering done right. So it's if you want it to be automatic ordering, it is, but you still have to, do your part to. You're not going to have stuff show up on your front stoop and be like, where'd this come from? Which when I was in sales at a distributor, I would hear that a lot from a lot of my dealers that, they had these automatic ordering, point of sale systems, and they'd have all the stuff showing up, and they'd call me and say, where's this coming from? And it's like, you've got a system that's automatically ordering. So yeah, this is really exciting. If we get an order,
we're going to fulfill it.
Right.
From the distributor standpoint.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is really exciting. So stand by for the next coreCAST on that'll be on episode 6.
Joel, I vote in the next episode. Literally, let's just dedicate it to automatic. The title should be automatic ordering done right.
I totally agree. I really do. You guys are going to go apey over this. And when I say apey, I mean apey. I'm big on gorillas right now for some reason. I don't know. We love apes. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
So, anyway.
We sure do. So, Ethan...
Chimps are all right.
Ethan, not to put you on the spot, but I was thinking, I don't know if there's anything super exciting on coreFORCE, but I'm gonna just put you on the spot. Tell me one feature in coreFORCE that you think is underutilized.
Touch points. 100% touch points.
Awesome.
So if you are not familiar with what a touch point is, I do. Go ahead.
No, I was going to ask, I was actually going to lead you into it and ask you what's a touch point.
Yeah, touch points, I think, are one of the most underutilized parts of our system. I can, off the top of my head, think of 2, maybe 3 clients that are currently using touch points. And at least the first 2 clients are clients that I told about the system. So I have a extensive knowledge base article on how to set up touch points, how to go into them, how to manage them, etc. But long story short, you could think of a touch point as a reminder, but it's also so much more than just a reminder. In fact, you could have a touch point that isn't a reminder. A touch point could be just a comment that you're making about a customer that maybe you want your salespeople to know about. Or maybe a touch point could be, hey, I need a reminder to follow up with this person and find out, how are they liking their membership so far? If you're running a membership program, or how did they end up liking that purchase that we sold on them? We just wanted to follow up and make sure that gun was the absolutely right choice for you. So the possibilities of touch points are unlimited. You can assign another user. So if you have maybe several staff members who use coreFORCE, even if it's at a kind of like lower intensity level, maybe they have kind of restricted access to some things. You can actually set a touch point and they will get a notification on the top of the coreFORCE back end of your website. There's a little bell icon, and you can actually have your person receive a notification that way. So the possibilities are endless. Definitely, look into that knowledge base article, submit a help desk ticket if you need help. If you want a 5-10 minute call of me just going over it and how to set it up, because maybe I didn't write something super well, I'm happy to do that for you. So please submit a ticket, let me know, and I definitely like to get you guys up and running on that.
Hey, Ethan, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Is there any way that you could do like maybe a 2 or 3 minute video tutorial that we could actually add to that knowledge base article that we're going to be sharing?
Yeah, of course.
That would be
great. I can definitely do that. Yep. Yeah, that would be very, very simple.
Okay. Yeah, so guys, look out for that as well.
Definitely.
Create a touch point.
Yeah. Yeah, other than that, a lot of the coreFORCE improvements have really just been a lot of performance issues, a few small bug fixes here and there. I mean, there's always going to creep in there. But lots and lots of really small and really big performance updates. We've kind of been working on some other really, really exciting things behind the scenes. I don't know if Ezra wants me to mention or not, but we have some stuff kind of planned for within the next few weeks. So let me interject on that. So I'm just going to say we certainly are not slowing down, I think is the best way to describe it. There is so many exciting projects, announcements, products that are going to hit literally this year. We're going to have everyone's head spinning. So we've got, exciting news on our Core Clear Merchant Services that I'm hoping we can share within 2 weeks, maybe less, maybe a little more. It's going to literally be a game changer for any retailer of ours that processes credit cards. And it's going to be amazing. So excited about that. We've got some amazing changes to some of the core functionality of coreFORCE
And again, I don't want to necessarily reveal what it is at this time because we're hoping that it's coming by the end of the month. But it's an extremely large project that has been worked on for the last several months, and it's going to be exciting. It relates to the e-commerce. Obviously coreFORCE does a whole lot more than e-commerce. Ethan's whole topic about touch points. I mean, that most e-commerce systems don't have CRM capabilities, right? And that's really part of a CRM, and CRM stands for Contact Resource Management, I think. I don't know. It's a horrible acronym. But you'll see that I think, and that's a really, I didn't even expect you to mention touch points, Ethan, and that proves that even from my standpoint, I don't always think of all the features that our customers are underutilizing, because again, it is a vast, massive platform that has so many features to it, and I love the fact that you brought one up, Ethan, that wasn't even in my list. So good job on that one. And I think definitely a video speaks much louder than words. So and hopefully while Ethan's speaking, we can actually put in a little video in the background, showing where you get to the touch points, just so our customers can start playing with those. Because again, I would guarantee that most customers, again, you're busy running your businesses, so a lot of times you don't have time to go around perusing through your software trying to figure out, what's the latest Easter egg, right? So that's a great example. I am going to just because we're nearing the end of this cast, and many viewers may have dropped off. So for those of you who are still hanging in there, we're going to be announcing a new product, coreConnect. This is a product that every retailer is going to want. Every retailer that we speak to, one of their first questions when they hear, yes, our solution is cloud-based. Welcome to 2021. You need your internet, right? Forget coreware. You need your internet. If you're processing a credit card, guess what? It's not tied to your phone line anymore. It's tied to the internet. So you need your internet connection. And every customer asks us, well, what happens if my internet goes down? And it's a valid question. And we've got a phenomenal, exciting solution that is a no-brainer. And we will literally, Joel, I think we should announce here and today that coreConnect is coming out, and we will have a special coreCAST with coreConnect, and we will give out some free core.
Oh wow!
Connects.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
That's pretty sweet.
We don't know what a coreConnect is, but it's super exciting.
I know what it is, and it's very exciting.
I don't know what it is, and it's very exciting.
This is a game changer.
So it is. It really is, and I'll just say that it's the size of basically a deck of cards is what's amazing about it.
Wow.
So that's all I'll say.
Oh, it's not a game changer. It's a game maintainer, basically. It's not going
game maintainer. I like that.
It's going to.
I like
that.
Maintain
Stay in the game.
Stay in the game. So, I think we should start maybe having specific topic coreCAST. So we already announced one being the
automatic ordering done right.
Auto ordering done right. Yeah. The next, we'll do one on coreConnect, and we'll just keep up the pace because there's more. Believe it or not, there's a lot more exciting things happening. We are going to also be inviting some of our first guests to our cast in the next couple of casts. We will bring in a couple of guests. I mean, I think at some point we talked about having George on the cast. We need to schedule that.
Definitely.
We've got other exciting news coming, and I'll just throw out a big name out there. Anybody know Dennis Quaid? That's all I'm going to say.
Is this going to turn out to be that Office episode where he kept mentioning Bruce Springsteen? Everybody that's seen that episode is going to know what I'm talking about.
You'll have to flash a highlight from it.
Yes, I will.
Or it could be a Bruce Springsteen fan. What? Who said that? I did. Why did I say that? Oh, I think you know why I said that. I think it is very apparent. I think it goes without saying, bear with me, there's a point there. But what is the point? I don't understand what he's saying. It seems a little shady. It seems a little foggy. Well, it's not a little foggy. There's really something going on here.
Do you need us for any of this?
Do I?
And a link so I can at least go watch that episode. Yeah, we've got crazy news coming. I mean, crazy stuff, and it's all in the spirit of, helping you, our customers, our prospective customers. And if you're not a prospective or existing customer and you're watching this cast, then you truly must have nothing else to do. So,
hey, and we may inspire you to go open a business. And if you do, we've got pretty much any service that you could possibly imagine to run your business. And
absolutely,
this place is like a, it's sort of like, I don't like Google really. I know some of you do. But it reminds me, if you were going to work at a Google, it would be this type place, because I'm telling you, the ideas, this place is so fulfilling for like the creative spirit, because when I talk to different people within the company and we start talking and you're like, holy moly, all these things start taking shape, and you start seeing them grow, and you're like, oh my gosh, man, this is going to be like revolutionary. That's what's happening at CoreWare. So even if you're not a customer, you can listen to this podcast. And you may end up being one, because we're probably going to come up with a product or a solution that you're going to need.
Yeah, and definitely
if we don't already have it,
go way beyond retail. Yeah, exactly.
And honestly, we probably do.
Awesome. Well,
I think this was a great show.
Yeah, this was a great show, and
no, you're good.
I don't know if we're going to be awake enough to move on to our next show, but the goal is to start talking about crypto on our new Core Crypt show. So hopefully that's going to be right around the corner. And we don't really know what we're doing on it, but I'm sure it's going to be as amusing as this show. So
if you think
that's the goal.
Yeah, if you think I'm extreme right now, you're going to really see the extremists come out whenever we start talking about money. And, like, I'm going to have some questions for these guys. I don't think they're taking me very serious, but I'm going to be asking questions for you, the viewers. So I know these are the things that you're probably going to be thinking of, and those questions will be asked. And I may not be with this company very much longer. I'm just joking. Hey, but seriously, we really appreciate you being here.
Joel, that's just your dream, but we're not letting you disappear on us. So
no way.
You're stuck.
No, hey, I want to remind everybody, please, if you would like a bag of coffee, just let us know. I mean, it's not like we've got tons of it. We've probably got 50 or 60 bags, maybe, I'm thinking. Just tell us. We've got the pins. Ethan, can you kind of pop your pin up there in front of the camera? We've got a few of those left. If you want a pin, let me know. We'll get you a pin and a bag of coffee headed your way. It's free, and we're expecting you to kind of wear that pin around and tell people about Honor and Remember and help out with a great cause.
Hey Joel, I'm gonna jump in real quick and just show our viewers how easy it is to ask for a bag of coffee.
Okay.
Hey Joel, can you send me and Kim another bag of coffee?
I sure will.
Thanks, buddy.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. Hey, do we have anything else? Anything exciting? Any jokes?
Been pretty exciting.
Am I not a joke in myself?
I was going to just.
I haven't had it in me to pick one.
I was thinking Fred Flintstone and Bam Bam.
All right. I mean, we could always nominate myself the director of bad jokes. I mean, I am from Nebraska, and we are very, very corny people. So
oh my gosh, that's it. He's the director of bad jokes. Ethan Perez.
Wow, there you go. That's his
awesome.
title.
Here for you.
Hey, thank you so much, everyone. Thank you,
Thanks,
Ethan,
everyone.
and thank you, Ezra, and thank you for our loyal audience. And we can't wait to see you in episode 14,888.
We'll be there.
Awesome. Exciting. Peace out.